Hey guys, George Mesa here, Third Eye Edify podcast with a very first time type of interview on this show. I have multiple guests and I'm very excited about them. This is some pretty serious stuff. I have been certainly following what's going on with FTX and SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried. I'm sure a lot of you have as well. It's an unavoidable topic. It could be one of the most important topics of the past decade. It's going to lead to so many different things. And I'm really honored to have these guests here with me, and I hope that you guys are just as excited as I am. And let me do a little introduction for them as best as I can because they need some recognition right now. Let's first thank the man who put this all together. We got Birdog, the Mystic Crypto Ronin. Put as many of your subtitles as I could in there. This is all his fault. We've been talking lately. I said to myself, I really can't personally do an FTX episode. I'm just not the guy for that. I don't know enough about it. I haven't been working with crypto enough. I didn't think I had the skill set, but this guy does. And who does he bring in? He brings in living legend, Terry Tillaart. This is an incredible thing. So please, Birdog, start it off for us. Introduce yourself. Tell people where they can find you and a little bit about what you do.
Well, it's a true honor and a pleasure to be here with you. Yeah, my on YouTube, I have a YouTube. Please, if you want to check it out, it's called Birdog, the Cryptic Ronin. Sometimes I go by Mystic Ronin, where I really share a lot about DeFi, passive income in the crypto asset realm. It really doesn't exist anywhere else. But I also like to mix in the metaphysical and esoteric because I believe that there's a underlying code. And I believe that if we can decode the code, it makes this realm a little bit easier to navigate. And another one of my main goal mission statements that the whole reason I even created any sort of like YouTube thing was to the tribes. I've always wanted to bring the esoteric realm, the high-minded, high-frequency beings over into crypto so that they can also prosper and not stress about money, and as well as the crypto investors to also perhaps adapt some metaphysical and as well to not only prosper financially but also health-wise. So it was a true honor to be here, and I merely I just like to introduce people, and Jorge, you're an amazing inspiration to me as well, which is why when I saw you on some other platforms and heard you speak, I was like, my mind was blown. So it's a true honor to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. And again, thank you for introducing me to Terry. Really, this is going to be a pretty awesome thing. So you have done so much over the decades for so many people. And I just want to thank you. First of all, you're really an inspiration. As he said to me, I'm saying to you, you really are an inspiration. An Acapulco presenter and all kinds of other things. It's too many things to even mention. So please give the audience a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself. Where can they find your stuff?
Well, thank you to both of you for having me, George. It's great to make new friends. Great to get connected. Chris, thank you so much for all that stuff. So, for me, I used to have a big social media following, and it started out in the health world and trying to enlighten people, but it quickly got involved with trying to find the truth for everything. I had a small event happen in my life when I was a very young adult that made me want to know the truth about everything. I just wanted to eliminate all dogma, all that stuff. So it was a hard-hitting truth channel. You piss a lot of people off, but you eventually get a big following of the right people until you get banned, right? And then I took some time off, but then I recently spoke at two back-to-back Anarchapulco events, as well as 3 of their Anarch-COVID events. I was recently on the Expat Money Show, and I recently started up a Telegram channel. So I'm getting back into the groove after taking some time off, trying to help as many people as we can. We could put the Telegram group in the show notes for those who want it. It's a private group, but we help people with passports, visas, residencies, relocation, asset protection. We're very involved in the crypto world, privacy tech. We're huge on passive income. We think people should diversify. We have 6 programs that we're currently like. When the markets are going down, we still want to make sure that everyone else's accounts are going up. You need cash flow to do that. We also are in our community. We also feature the Birdog DeFi program as one of our 6. So we're fans.
Wow.
And we're just trying to make the world a better place for anyone who has ears to hear, for those who want some help. And so, and a part of that, I think, of what we're going to discuss today is having that macro picture of how the world really operates and what the criminals are really doing and where crypto's going and where it's not going. And was this FTX thing?
A little freeze up there. Hopefully
he
it comes
got a
right
freeze.
back. That's right. I think he'll come right back. Well, either way, this is big stuff, and I'm super thrilled about it. And hopefully he'll come right back. There he is. All right. Sorry about that, Terry. We had a little hiccup there. Yeah, please finish whatever that thought was, because I think that was important stuff.
I'm not sure what you heard last, but I was just handing it back to you. I just wanted to cut the intro short. I was talking too much, and so we'll go down any road you want to go down.
No, that's wonderful. Well, let me at least bring up this image to set the mood, because there's a potential here for this being a big factor in what's going on. And this is the symbol of the family crest of the Fabian Society, which was founded in 1884. There's rumors that 1984 was that of course that book was given the year as the 100-year anniversary of this. But the bottom line is that their symbol, their logo, is the wolf in sheep's clothing. So let's keep that concept in mind as we look ahead here. So I think the best place to start, really, especially for people that may be, following me a lot. I'm not necessarily a crypto-oriented show in any way. I do news in little bits, but for the most part, I give information that I find as I see it, necessary to enlighten people, to edify people. So I think the best way to start is, let's get something out of the way right now. Blockchain versus crypto versus any other things you think that are parallels. Can we dispel any potential misunderstandings that seem to be all over the internet right now about these ideas, even though this is not a new thing at all? It's many years old at this point. But whoever wants to take that can take it. I don't care who it is. But let's make sure we walk away with this conversation at least knowing that the differences between that.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most important take home of them all. Like, the media is going to try and lump all the bad shit you've seen in 22 and lump it into one umbrella called crypto, which they are going to actively paint in whatever light that they want, right? So Bitcoin is the original DeFi. DeFi meaning decentralized finance, not Wall Street, not run by the government, right? That was the whole idea. And of course, I would say it's the first DeFi project because it is a currency that is not issued by the state or by central banks, a potentially future-altering, planet-altering technology, really, because we've been literally under a prison of central bankers issuing currency, right? And so how do you break that force field? You've got to have something that's not issued by them, but it's so hard when they're in control of the whole thing. So Bitcoin comes along. This becomes a threat to the institutions. Most people don't realize or don't think about Bitcoin this way. They're only thinking about it from the speculative standpoint. But it's a way that we have a global, international means of exchange of value, that I can trade something with somebody in Croatia. Let's just say it's an online business and a subscription service. I can trade Bitcoin with them, and it's completely outside of any dollar-denominated, any government-issued currency system. It's global. It can't be hacked. It can't be destroyed. It's a brilliant design in the sense that there is no head office. There's no CEO. There's no registered corporation. Translated, there's no place the government can send tanks and guns to, right?
Right.
Because the Bitcoin blockchain is so decentralized that there's no central entity or person or anything to attack. And I think that I would argue that probably 98%, it's probably higher than that, of people don't realize that that is the origin of it. Now, who started it and all that stuff, we can talk a lot about those theories, but the easiest assumption to go on is that it was probably started by freedom-oriented anarcho-capitalists. Some would argue the CIA started it. I don't know. Even if they did, it's grown so far out of their control. They did not intend for it to be the way it is today. It is a threat to them. So they have had 13 years to plot an attack on a project, a concept, a technology that can literally put an end to all governments and all central banks. It's the first real threat that they've had in any remote semblance of modern history. And so you have to realize that a lot of these projects that we are seeing that they just put this umbrella term of crypto on are actually projects started by them that were designed to get popularized by them, that were designed to be deliberately collapsed by them, so they can dragnet as many people into that collapse as they can, A, to do maximum damage, but B, also to shake the confidence in what is a true competition for them, right? So along comes this new DeFi network, this whole brand new. Some of the projects are trying to do the right things. They're trying to create a new world of finance like Bitcoin, but they're not trying to be the currency. They're trying to create an ecosystem for financial products that people use in all countries of the world, again, that are non-central bank and non-government controlled entities. Well, that becomes even more threatening to the establishment. So they say, Wall Street's looking how they can get undercut from the knees. Why would you go through a JP Morgan or your Citibank or your whatever financial trading platform and pay their exorbitant fees? They used to charge people $30, $50 to place one trade. You only try and buy 100 stocks of Apple and they were dinging you for $50. You had to go through an intermediary, you had to go through centralized entities, and they had a monopoly on it, so they can control the prices on it. The last thing they want is some place that comes by that charges pennies and cuts out all the intermediaries, right? So without that context, I think people are not thinking about this FTX thing right and not seeing crypto correctly. You have to realize that for 13 years, if there's no place they can send the tanks and guns to, they have to formulate other very underhanded, comprehensive strategies to try and take on what they're doing. And then for those who are not familiar, they're looking to bring in a central bank digital currency. If you know that's their plan, and if you've studied that plan at all, you realize there's no way that plan works with cash free flowing in the economy and thousands of digital alternatives that have far more freedoms for the people. It's not going to. Their plan will not work unless they take out the competition. So I think what we're seeing with this FTX thing is not a crypto project at all. This is a bankster project. This was a coup from the start, and same with a lot of the other collapsing entities that we saw this year. I believe that they're all intertwined, and it was all planned and not by accident at all. Now, did everything happen on the exact time frame and the exact days? Actually, I think some of them did. Maybe not all of them. I don't know. The jury's out on that.
That pilot program, maybe. The pilot program was really close to this implosion, I think.
Right. And so I'm not here to say that I have all the answers. I'm just here first to paint this context so you realize that crypto, just to put a quick definition on what is crypto. Crypto means cryptography. The whole idea was to digitally encrypt, so it would be private, digitally encrypt the identities of the transactors, and of course the cash itself, so people could not steal it or invent their own digital cash. That was when they tried to start, various versions pre-Bitcoin. That was the problem, is if it was digital and there was no centralized entity releasing it, couldn't anyone just create their own digital cash or some copy of it, right? So they had to find a way, and of course the brilliance of Bitcoin found a way to do that. But and the cryptocurrency notion, right, is that most crypto projects, crypto loosely, digital cash, digital token economy, whatever you want to call it, are not trying to be a currency. There's only, maybe 10 of those out of like 17,000, maybe 10 of them are trying to be a currency, but they are all using some form of cryptography. But an exchange, a big centralized exchange like FTX, is not crypto, and it was just a token that came along down the road. It's not blockchain. It's run by the banksters. It's run by the World Economic Forum. It's got ties to every banking institution you could imagine, and you don't get inordinate amounts of funding from BlackRock if you're in your 20s and you're an unknown quantity or variable. So I'll stop there. Just hopefully that painted a little bit of context for the conversation to realize that this is, I think, extremely contrived plan. I don't think these things are accidental at all, but I'll stop there and let Birdog chime in.
I just want to tag on. Thank you, Terry. Yeah. And I always love your passion. Something we need to consider is the main end game here in this realm, in the controllers, the puppet masters, etc., is total enslavement. So when it comes to something like money and cryptocurrency, they do not like competition. When it comes to something like free speech, they want to control speech. When it comes to violence, physical violence, like with certain metal tools, they want to be.
They want a monopoly.
They want to be the monopoly in that. They don't want you to be able to defend yourself. They don't want you to be able to feed and yourself, speak for yourself, think for yourself, conduct business and commerce between two consenting parties. They want to be involved in all of it, and they want to control all of it with the end goal of total enslavement. So anytime it's like, hey, we just can't have nice things, because every time we try and create something, they co-opt it, and that we can see that over and over again. So that this currency, whatever form that may be, whether it's blockchain related or what have you, they want to control it. So we've seen countries get invaded, those who didn't, like Libya and those types, and Venezuela's, and I know there's layers to these types of concepts, but that's where wars happen, etc. When you go, we don't want to operate with your system. And of course, when things like diary of an economic hitman and those type of things, right, where they come in with their moves, and eventually violence is the final one. So that's another concept that we have to take in mind. I know this is like, we're on the holiday season. I know we all want to kind of check out, but these are very serious things coming. And cryptocurrency can be a tool or a weapon. It all, just like most things. So they are trying to, again, weaponize commerce and currency. So that's it in a nutshell.
I love your callback reference to Confessions of an Economic Hitman, because if anyone studied that, you realize that this is what we're living through, but it's not as easy for them to do on blockchain, right? But it's the same kind of usurping, underhanded kind of strategy to try and take down their competition, right? By either bribe or by gun or by force or by manipulation. And the same way they try and manipulate the prices of the markets, right? Anyway.
And the new world, and the new world order is the same as the old world one. These are the same players. You have nepotism. You have all these various. This is just in modern digital day, this technology. And by the way, we also to add on in the future, technocracy. They speak of some incredibly dystopian stuff. That is a whole other conversations, but just know that they are going that route. So, pardon me. So I hope that's a good level. I mean, again, Terry and I, we are tangent central. We can go off. We could take any one of these comments and go. But
I'm counting on it, man. I'm counting on it.
Yeah, I mean, this FTX deal, and also I'm esoteric, so I also will tie in the lunar eclipse, which I've been calling the lunar eclipse for November 7th. I've been calling that for a year, and I've been preparing for incredible crashes during this lunar eclipse because I saw this coming. And then FTX happens. Then on 11/11 they file bankruptcy officially. Right. So I didn't know in what form it was going to happen. Coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences, so I just want to throw that. That's why I'm a mystic, crypto Ronin as well. So if we want to get it, so we can uncover this FTX and look at all the same players and oh my gosh, the lizard class, these parasites, they can't actually create anything. They can only copy, and the copies are never as good as the original. And they can also subvert and defile and water down. That's all these psychopaths are able to do. So
agreed, 100%. And history does repeat itself in that respect, and history also repeats itself in the public eye of this. It's often, well, I guess we're going to have to do it. That central bank digital currency is the only way. I don't want to touch dirty money anymore anyway. I can't carry sacks of gold with me anyway. And then suddenly you've got this thing that. Before I go in that direction, actually, does this tie into the desire for certain regulation? Because that seems to be the hot topic as a result of the FTX crash. That word regulation comes into mind for almost every single conversation I've seen.
Let me jump in, Terry. First of all, for the three of us to do business, we don't need regs.
Right.
We're already conducting. I can send and we can purchase from each other easily right now. We don't need regs.
Right.
Regs are so the corporations can come and play. Regs are so they can control, like I was saying about talking about control. And when has the government regulations on any topic ever improved anything at all?
Right.
Usury, which is this financial scope, is all usury. It's all bureaucracy. It's all bribes and everything. Price controls. I mean, it goes into, so yes, just like the gun control, when you have a lone shooter somewhere supposedly doing something, and then the next day they have 14,000 page bills ready to go. Now, for those that know what's going on, we know that, we know that people like the current president, like in the 90s, he had bills ready to go for the Patriot Act. In fact, many say he wrote the Patriot Act, which happened in the early 2000s. So they have their whole playbook, literally. They're like, what? They're like literally like, all right, what playbook? All right, I got that bill right here. It's already been drafted. So that is an indicator that none of this is organic. If you believe in this being organic and coincidence, etc., I apologize. You're incredibly naive to how this realm actually operates. Okay, these are agendas. They want to move the herd and nudge you. So yes, something like this is definitely could be used as preface to implement regular and goals and those types of things. And I've never seen one example where that's ever worked out in any sector at all. So that's my thing on that.
No, good point. And people, they ask for it. They get you to actually desire the end result that they already pre-created. They reverse engineer the bill and they make it work.
But I'm powerless. I'm powerless.
No, I didn't mean to stop Terry there. You can go right ahead.
7 billion people.
Right.
What can I do?
Right. Exactly.
And Terry and I'm telling you, we're out here. We're doing the work. We're trying to free the people. And I'm telling you, we're a very small minority. And so we're trying to shine light on the darkness, and we're trying to raise the vibration. But people kind of have to do their own. They have to starve the beast in multiple ways, and they have to implement some of these freedom aspects. If you're even in the freedom, I don't even know if people are even in the freedom. They want security and comfort, and they'll get neither. You will not, if you trust the government, you will not be healthy. You will not be wealthy. You'll be sick, broke, miserable. You'll own nothing and be happy. I highly doubt Klaus Schwab's dad, when he operated his little work operation, back in the World War II days, I doubt those people, they didn't own anything, and I highly doubt they were very happy. That's just maybe I'm reaching. But
they drain you down to the point where you almost crave, at the very least, convenience, where life can be easy again. Maybe it's a wartime thing. It could be a lot of things. It's hard to quantify it, but it's a big factor. And again, Terry, I think we may have interrupted you in a thought there. Go for it, man.
No, all good. No, I was just saying that this is classic problem, reaction, solution, right? So they want regulations. Damn well they want to release their banks, their coins. They want to make moves towards the CBDCs. They want to make moves against the competition, like we were talking about earlier. And so they need events, right? Like, this is why they always stage false flag events all over the world, of a wide variety of different kinds. Like he was talking about the shooter incidents, like these are clearly what they're doing. So this is just, but I think it goes a little beyond that is all I would add, is that I think that, the regulations part, great. So now they got the great public story of it, but they also got to take down a lot of people. They got to drain a lot of retail investors. When Klaus Schwab says you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, they take the you'll own nothing part far more serious than you think. And one way to do that is take a project on a pedestal and rise it up from fucking pennies to hundreds of dollars, and people get rich and they put it in the spotlight, and they do this on purpose, right? They've got Wall Street money, like World Economic Forum, Rockefeller, Rothschild money behind it. They pump it up really high on a pedestal, and then they slam it down. They fleece the retailers, and then they get to scare people out of their wits of crypto, this magical, mystical thing called crypto. It's just a buzzword in most people's minds. I mean, I try and have conversations with people about crypto all the time. I'm not like trying to badger them while they're out having fun, but I'll always try and plant the seed, try and feel them out. So where are you at? The average person is so clueless. They don't get the first thing about it. So all they got to do then is to cater to a message to those masses on TV. Say, oh, look, another crypto thing gone bad. Don't look over here, people. We got something new and better coming for you soon.
Yep. And maybe people don't know how serious this was. I mean, here's the FTX arena in Miami. They had went all the way so fast. It was a meteoric rise, as they say. And if you go to the website, it still has FTX down there as what did it say? It was young and exciting cryptocurrency exchange that continues to grow at lightning speed. They didn't even take it off the website yet. How lazy is that, man? It's crazy. It's crazy how far it went. And nobody sees a problem with this. It's just like when one of those rappers comes out of nowhere and they're 20 years old and they're millions of fans. How does that happen? This is how it happens.
How does it happen? Right.
It doesn't happen.
You can make a name
it
for
won't
yourself.
happen to you.
Yeah.
It won't happen to anyone you know.
It's funny, right? Just the other day, I'm walking down the street. You can't see that. It's too glary. This guy's walking with a sign, and he says, fresh mixtapes, $2. I totally respect this young guy hustling, right? It's only $2. I think I had 4 ones in my pocket. I double paid. Give me a CD, man. Respect the hell out of your hustle. Love entrepreneurs. But what are the odds that I'm going to see this guy on the radio? Even if he's really good, probably really low. But I respect the hell out of the hustle, and I want to reward that, those activities and the guy pursuing his dream and taking control of his own shit. I love that.
Did you listen to it?
I'm going to. I just bought it.
Nice.
But I will. That's why I left it right beside the computer. The sucker's going in.
Wow, man. That's been my career since the 90s. I'm a musician. It's what I've always done. And I try so often to tell my students that are, getting that look in their eye. I'm like, look, it's probably easier for you to go be a professional athlete than to make it in this world. I promise you, So yeah, it's really quite difficult. You don't know anyone that's famous through that. And if you do, they were bought or who knows, MK Ultra a long time ago before they got to that point. There's requirements.
Musicians, and this are out there gigging, and they have multiple networks and they gig. They're basically on the road and they go to gig, and if you're a drummer or something, which I know many, they got to carry their own. They're not from Pink Floyd. They don't have roadies. They got to carry their own stuff. So it's a hard life when you're really trying to make it happen.
For sure. So maybe we can just backtrack a moment before we dive further into the nature of what this is and how it came to be and who it affects and how it's essentially going to affect everybody, it seems. We should probably talk about Alameda a little bit and the relationship between Caroline Ellison and the Tara McAulay, who was the co-founder of FTX. And at the same time, maybe we can also get this terminology out of the way because it's been coming up a lot lately. Native token versus exchange token. Are they the same thing? How do they function? And what is FTT versus FTX, especially for the viewers, and to just make this a little more thorough?
Yeah, I'll try and keep it simple for people to try and get this, right? Because I want them to get the essence. If they get the essence, they can always go research the technical details, right? But you can't get lost in details. The first thing I want to plant seed-wise in someone's head is when you see 20-something people in their 20s. I'm not saying they're dumb. There are some people in their 20s that are exceptionally smart, but you can figure that out pretty quick when you listen to them. You know what I mean? When you listen to any of the interviews of Carolyn and SBF, it's not your first impression. There isn't a part of you saying, wow, and then even a cursory research glance, when you try and find out where did they get their original money? Where did they get the seed money? Where did they get all this stuff started? You can't find any of that. Right. And that's when for start, it's the first big clue. It's not a guarantee, but there's a good chance you're looking at really shady dealings. And then, George, imagine you and I start a business right now and we want to get Larry Fink at BlackRock to fund us. Fuck. Right. You know how hard that would be? Like how would you get a meeting? Who would you talk to? What hoops would you have to jump through? And if they did by chance, you had a friend who got you a little meeting, a little something, they might give you like a small amount of like tested out money. They're not just going to throw big money at you and then call all of their wealthy friends and say, hey, guys, everybody who's in banking, just throw billions of dollars at these young, too stupid meth heads, which, leads me to my other point that we were chatting about earlier, is that that you're if anyone watched Sopranos, when someone's a made person, someone's already got immunity, they're already on the inside circle, they're a part of the criminal gang, is when you can come on YouTube in your 20s and laugh and giggle about doing meth and hard street drugs on TV, when you got billions of dollars worth of investors' money that people are watching you for. You're on an exchange where you got hundreds of billions, and you're not expecting the cops to knock at your door. Okay. And then after the story breaks, you see a video of Caroline Ellison strolling downtown New York City, hanging out, doing some shopping where across the street from the DOJ, right? Like you guys just robbed and fleeced and gambled away billions of dollars of people's money. It's a far bigger scandal than Bernie Madoff, a regulated scandal like, Birdog touched on earlier. Right. And you're just hanging out downtown and loitering. You don't do that, and you don't brag about doing hard street drugs on YouTube to investors, which would be absolutely unheard of. I mean, hey, Jorge, could you lend me some more money? I need to buy some more smack. Like, yeah. Right. Or and for me to expect the cops don't show up. It's bullshit. It's crazy.
It's time to hide. It's time to hide, man. You got to be like Anne Frank in the attic. You're hiding.
And I can't find any, why would they give, let's just think about it on that normal level for a second. I can't see any previous successes on why you would give this guy those billions, right? On merit, so to speak. So as Terry was alluding to, it's like he's obviously a puppet. He's obviously well funded, and and the funders are very suspect as well. And I tie this into intelligence operations, shadow money, dark money, and this is really at face value a money laundering scheme. FTX is a very large money laundering scheme, which they funneled in other money that they got from their dark ops, and then make it clean. Whether it's through the Ukraine, whether it's through several other entities offshore, dude. FTX has one of their offshore outfits is called West Realm Shire.
Really?
Now,
holy crap!
Think about the show Westworld. Like, these guys have West Realm Shire is one of their offshore accounts that they use to launder money through. These people are weirdos, man. You know what I mean?
Good point, man.
We talked about the dystopian enslavement, but beyond that, in the meth, and there's other dark stuff they do as well. These people are weird. They have that whole trend. You listen to anyone from their World Economic Forum, all those types, they're all into transhumanism, which will show that the FTX, his brother, was donating to a transhumanist outfit. And this has other, this reminds me of, the Epstein folks. And
definitely,
these people are weird, guys. Like, this is not just something you turn on Fox News. And when you start to peel back the layers, this is it's a big club, and you're not in it, as George Carlin said. It's not an isolated event.
Yeah, and he's making a great point. If you go down the trail of the campaign, all you hear about is, oh yeah, it looks like he donated to the Democrats. Yeah, go look a little further than that. Again, put yourself in the shoes, boys. The three of us are running some kind of business, right? We're getting a little bit of success, and all of a sudden, I don't know, the science for cutting off boys' penises in elementary school calls us up for a donation. What are the odds that we're not going to hang up the phone on them? What but these guys are donating to all kinds of unbelievably weird clauses, the shadow figures behind every layer of the onion you peel back. Their parents were all MIT, Stanford, both sides of the family connected to the SEC, connected to all of the higher ups, to all of Wall Street. They're involved with the Clintons. They're involved with all kinds of stuff. And then you see this picture of there's SBF, some, dorky kid. I don't want to be insulting or make that. I don't want that to become his resume, right? It's unfair. Right. It's prejudging him. But what are the odds that he's sitting on a stage at some massive conference and he's sitting beside Tony Blair and Bill Clinton? And then the week after FTX collapses, he's got another thing scheduled for a meeting to speak on stage with Janet Yellen and a few of the other hardcore criminals. But but and then how many years back does this go? And how do I go back? How do you get BlackRock support? Please tell me.
That's
how
already that should be anyone who truly knows that should immediately be the end of you trusting any of it. And that's easy to say when you're in the kind of research level that we do, but for people that don't know, BlackRock is the blackest of all. They really are one of the most. If you don't know, I suggest go looking into it. We don't have time to give you the whole details on what they are and what they do today, but that's one of the most important companies to keep track of. Just like the World Economic Forum, if you watch what they're doing to get a taste of what's coming, BlackRock is there paying the way the whole time. It's unreal how much they're in there, have their hands in this stuff. And speaking of red flags, and we kind of touched on it, but I don't think we actually said it flat out, is that in the interviews, it looks like they are, especially SBF, it looks like he's a little drugged out. He's shaking a lot, like you see his arm going like crazy as he fails to answer very, very, very simple, base questions when this guy's supposed to be heralded as a crypto genius, even by the people that were interviewing him at the big news companies. No one seemed to notice that he was absolutely unequipped for this job with his illiquid funds. I don't know how that could have possibly happened. Did you guys end up seeing that as well? Was it on your radar before any of this happened? Or did it kind of come to light closer to the end?
A bunch of weird things happened for me. Like when they first kind of burst onto the scene, of course, I'm interested. You don't want to miss out on the next 100x, next 1000x coin. Like no one wants to miss out on those, whether you like the project or not. But I was just very distrusting. When I hear, okay, crypto billionaire, that's just how they referred to him in the beginning, right? The first time I ever heard his name is some young crypto billionaire, but you can't find the guy speaking on any stages. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been. Bitcoin's been around for 13 years, right? So do any of the Bitcoin OGs know him? Do any of the people who spoke at the original conferences, like in 2011, did they ever hear this guy? Okay, maybe not. Okay, he was young. Okay, 2016, 2017 rolls around. Was he invited as some young kid, or him and his parents, like maybe had a joint venture? They bought a bunch of Bitcoin when he was really young, and now he's wealthier, and he's on stage and he's telling his story. There's none of that. He just comes out of nowhere. And by the way, do you even think it's easy to get on CNN? Like it's not easy for an average person to get on CNN and express an opinion about anything. But this guy's got instant media coverage, partnerships with the World Economic Forum, BlackRock as a financial backer, friends with the Clintons, on stage with Tony Blair. I mean, this is a World Economic Forum project that was designed to attack status quo and to fleece as many retail investors as they could. And I didn't lose any money in this one, but some people even lost money on the collaterals of it, which I think that was also part of their plan. So it's very stressful, frustrating, sad.
Yeah, well, it is, I mean, look, I got a little shot here. These are some of the who's that are involved in this. And I think the main dude to mention at the moment is Kevin O'Leary, because he's kind of in the spotlight big time about all this. I mean, we see some other guys that everyone knows, almost every one of these people, even if you don't follow pop culture. You know who these people are. Maybe you don't know Kevin O'Leary's name, but you know his face from Shark Tank, right? And I heard him there. I think it was CNBC. They were grilling him pretty hard, and it was nice to see, actually. But they were saying, how did you not vet this more thoroughly prior to getting this $15 million, check just to be a spokesperson, or at least to have a commercial like Larry David had a commercial for them. And they said, it's safe and easy, and it sounds just like safe and effective to me is what it really sounds like. And how him and his buddies, nobody vetted this properly. I mean, don't we have like True Value Labs is a data service that they use AI to scope out the ESG of a situation and to see if it's even real. Did AI fail? Are they going to start blaming AI in a certain way that failed? Because AI seems to be popping up here and there, and I don't see that being too far-fetched, especially with the whole conversation about everything apps lately. This is the kind of thing that FTX wanting to be one of those everything apps, and Twitter obviously is on their way. Maybe YouTube will once TikTok gets blown out in this country. It's a lot of different things, and that sticks right to transhumanism. Easiest way to have an everything app is get a chip in your body somewhere. I would say at the end of the day, it's going to take a little time to get there, but I can see that as being a goal, and this is all part of this. All of these things, all these nefarious things. It's really crazy.
When they cast their spells, can you bring up that picture of what you just brought on those people?
Yeah.
All right. You got all the shades of human beings covered here.
Right. Yeah.
That's how they operate. And with the
And good luck trying to get them on your side. Good luck on trying to get through their offices. Good luck.
Oh yeah.
But you got Tom. I mean, just the look, right? Everyone's got the look here. Should cover a lot of people. You also have the Larry David one, where he's like, I don't like it. When they cast their spells, they do give themselves a karmic out, meaning we told you, our cosmic lawyers have found loopholes to where if we say don't do this or we do it in satire, that gives us some sort of it doesn't affect us by the karma. These people do operate with spells. They are into the dark arts. So I just wanted to show that for when they advertise, you got a lot of the bases covered anyway. So and as Terry was talking a lot about this, the company started in May 2019, and then 2 years later, they're worth several $billion, right? That's just ridiculous. And if the start of the fall of this, at least on the surface, is the Binance CEO. He goes by, we call him CZ for short.
Right. Changpeng Zhao, right?
Changpeng Zhao. Thank you.
Right.
I never try to pronounce the name.
Well, I feel like I might have butchered a bit. I feel bad.
Oh, that was really good, man. He had about $2 billion worth of FTX. He gave them money and in return received FTX coins. It's kind of like when you go back in the day, they did the old give us gold and in return we'll give you a piece of paper. You know what I mean? A piece of paper. And you're like, dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get this. But anyway, so CZ was like, dude, your partner has a majority of these FTX native tokens, which are just native. I can explain native.
Maybe get into FTT in a little bit. Explain why FTT versus FTX, soon. Sure.
And so he sold his position. So CZ was like, I don't feel comfortable. I feel like this is I feel like we're very exposed. So he sold his position. And then later, I don't know, the next day or two or so was like, I liquidated my FTX position. And that started like a bank run. And then everyone's like, because Binance is an incredibly big power player in the crypto space. So everyone started sell, and it was basically a bank run, and it's, goes down to the bottom. And then here we are today. Funds lost, funds gambled away, funds, whether fraudulent, all the funds are gone, people, safe and regulated. And these guys are, registered and all that, Bahamas. But you know what I mean? They're did all the official, and these are the clean, safe, investment, where to put your money safely.
Right.
Now, when it comes to native coins, it's basically, if you have an exchange, a lot of exchanges have their own native coin. Binance has their native coin. They actually have a couple, but they have BNB is their native coin, right? And so all these, Coinbase doesn't have one, but Crypto.com has their own native coin, Crow. So it's kind of, and then what brings value to it? There's a lot of tokenomics involved on what actually brings the value, and they say through fees and things, and you gain value. You're almost being like a venture capitalist as well, to where you buy their native coin. You're basically investing in the company, and then they take that and I guess they buy drugs and launder it and
so does it work in the way we're taught how capital works when you're in elementary school? You hold my money, you use it, and then I take what I need when I need it, and that's probably somebody else's at that point. Is it a similar process?
Well, they're very fractional. Okay, so they were very leveraged as well. So they were very a lot of like, the Alameda connection is where they leveraged and did all these super high derivatives, etc., where you are basically gambling on official gambling, trading, and lending, borrowing, leverage trading on your coins, or where you have $100 worth of it, but it's up to $10,000 of value out there in the derivative thing. So when you do a bank run, when you do something like that, that kind of comes home to roost, so to speak, because you no longer have that asset to kind of as your baseline, whether it's to borrow, trade, leverage trade, whatever the case may be. So that's another aspect to this deal.
Right. Is that why? Because I was curious about this. Is that why Alameda and FTX both filed for Chapter 11 simultaneously on 11/11/22? Speaking of numbers, is that didn't they file at the same time?
Well, he's
you mean on 666?
So
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, definitely.
What a coincidence! What
a coinky dink.
So
Yeah,
Stan is also the co-founder of the Alameda Research, and he put his I guess his method girl, supposed girlfriend, but
yeah, I think that they said they were used to be right.
They're connected through families, yeah. So it's you kind of there's a lot of shenanigans when it comes to these legal entities and shuffling money around. So Alameda was like they're kind of used for the leverage side and the derivative side.
I see.
But they own both sides, you know what I mean? So, but when you present it, you go, "Oh, Alameda is this, and FTX is this." I
see.
So there was a very similar thing that happened months ago. There was another Alameda equivalent, like Three Arrows Capital.
Mm-hmm.
They went down, but you had all these other outfits that were invested in them: Celsius, Voyager, several others. In the front end, they take your money. In the back end, they all invest into like the same thing. Well, that one thing dies, and that crashes everything. So this was like a bank run. So your bank, your Wall Street, everyone decides to pull their money out. They'll go under because they're so over leveraged on the actual what's in the coffers. That's a super basic. I was just real basic, but
no, it's good. It's good to that. I think everything that was said was necessary. I'm so happy that we can provide this for the audience, all this deep details of things that you guys really know what you're talking about. It's awesome. I'm just asking the questions here. And Terry, what do you have any opinion on John Ray stepping in afterwards, who was the guy who stepped in for Enron, and he said this is worse than Enron?
Oh,
essentially nothing. Said there was no bank account.
I mean, I would just go back to if anyone thinks that's a coincidence, I've got oceanfront property in Nebraska. I'd love to sell you, but
they're like, hey, clean this up like you did Enron. He's like, it's a big job,
I'll take care of it.
But I mean, a few things I just wanted to touch on that kind of slipped my mind listening to Birdog. One is, did FTX as an exchange come onto the marketplace and offer anything truly unique that was not already in the market? And I would answer that not really. They did a good job. Everyone liked the way it functioned, but did they offer anything unique, which is usually the one thing that should catapult you to having a huge corporation. Second, to tie on the money laundering thing, just to plant the seed in people's heads, you hear stories like, all these politicians, all of them, right? There was a story about Pelosi. Don't quote me on the details. Came out recently. She goes into Congress, and it's called that for a reason. She goes into Congress, and her net worth is modest. And she leaves, and it's 50 million. And she is the story of all politicians. So where and how, they always have a mechanism for getting the money into their bank account. Now, I don't know, and I can't say for certain what's happening really for real in Ukraine, but at least in the early days, I went out of my way to go find the live video camera footage for all the downtown major cities in Ukraine, and there's fucking nothing happening. Zero. And by the way, if there's some bloody war going, you wouldn't have every politician, every bureaucrat. David Letterman is over there right now, apparently interviewing the president, hanging out in the streets. They're not wearing vests. They're not wearing helmets. They're not wearing. There's not really a war going on there.
Right.
So
they got
brave.
So brave. I forgot.
Broadcast cameras, huge, heavy broadcast cameras. I don't think
they're just braver than we are.
Oh,
but if there's a little bit of skirmish going on in some little pocket, I might buy that. But that's about the extent you could ever sell me on that story. But the point is, how much money is flowing over there is unbelievable. It's more than it's something like. Don't quote me on it again, but it's something like $1 billion a day. It's more than that probably if you count all the companies, all the factors, all the things that we're not seeing. And it's not going to fund a war. Ukraine is their buddy. The World Economic Forum recently released a brand new video showing Ukraine in 2030. It's going to be their pet project for the most advanced city, for the great poster child, for the Great Reset, and how it's going to be all run by tech. And all this stuff like, oh, so I thought the Ukraine, who's the enemy here, right? You can see videos going back decades and decades of Putin and Klaus Schwab have been good friends for a very long time. That's how he got into office, by the way. It's the real reason. He was a fucking cab driver, you know. And don't tell me he's not one of their buddies. You can't sell me. I don't even believe in the idea that there are countries anymore. It's just a group, a club of people working together, manipulating our perceptions. But all that money that, you know, all the Congress people have to get their money from somewhere, right? So they send it to Ukraine, wink, wink. They use a crypto exchange, wink, wink, and then it gets funneled into some mystery bank account. Like, it has to get there somehow. Like, that they're getting the money somehow, some way, and this was a great vehicle for them. And so was a fake proxy war. There's a reason why the military always calls it the theater of operations. They're telling you, goddammit, right? So we're just looking at more theater and all of these. And I'll add one last thing to that I thought was important to touch on. You see, you mentioned Three Arrows Capital, and you mentioned Voyager and BlockFi and all these other companies, right? I'm going to go with benefit of the doubt and say the Pareto principle is probably at play. Let's say 80% of those projects and outcomes were all predetermined by the criminals, and the other percentage, 20%, call it 50-50, whatever you want, were of the collateral damage, were the criminals going after the competition, right? But none of these things, Celsius, all of these things that you saw happen this year, these were all on purpose. Now, did they happen at exactly the time frame that every person wanted to? Did everyone achieve their goal? I don't know. You know, I'm not in the boardroom. Those are things that are hard to quantify. But anyway, I don't want to get on a tangent. I'll stop there. But I mean, I thought those are important things for context to get people to think about, because people are not going to believe that every company, every person we see, David Ray showing up for the Enron bankruptcy. I mean, that's not coincidence to me, but why wasn't he brought in the others? I also saw a thing, by the way. I saw a video today. I should also mention this. I wanted to mention this. I watched a video about the FTX thing, and Bankman-Fried's in there getting questioned by all these politicians that I've never heard of, never seen in my life. You clearly know nothing about crypto, and all of a sudden they're here to protect the people. Same theater bullshit. But, you know, in there they say, in this big grander FTX thing, how many Americans were in there? Less than 2% of their customer base. You know, so why the fuck is the U.S. Congress involved? Why is the U.S. arresting him? Why is Sam Bankman-Fried in the same jail cell as Jeff Epstein was, literally? Why? Right. You know, why? It begs more questions. Right?
Yeah, the Metropolitan Correctional Center down Lower Manhattan. It's
just a coincidence, though. It's just a coincidence, I'm sure. And Caroline is shopping across the street.
It's too much.
Yeah, because if I knew they were coming for me, I would be hiding in some country with non-extradition laws and very poor government tracking. Like, you know,
not a popular tourist spot that's notorious for what it is.
Hang on. Oh, God,
well,
it's a tangent, but
if I can throw some other stuff out there just for context. By the way, I shared a couple links in the private, but we may want to save the transhumanism agenda for the next
I think so.
half and some of the other stuff. But for now, if you look at Fox News, they say like the brother, who to me is like the bag man, and they donated thousands to the Democratic Party. Well, when I look at things realistically, they actually, here it says $40 million to the Democratic midterm election, just for the midterm election here in the US. And then, so 40 million just for the midterm elections for Democrats. And I'm not by the way, I'm not into any parties. I'm just throwing that out there. So then another one is the brother also created a Guarding Against Pandemics nonprofit, which aims to prevent another buzzword. Sorry. Another horrendous. Oh my gosh, they're dying in the streets, but millions and how much? Let's see, to prevent another one. So somehow their nonprofit is going to prevent another pandemic. Thank you. They donated 70 million to this for research projects, campaign donations, and initiatives that hope to boost biosecurity and pandemic prevention. That's per the Washington Post. So you got 40 million to the Democratic Party directly. You got 70 million to this thing that also does campaign donations. That's over 100 million. And they're going to save us from future pandemics, which is beautiful. And then they also donate to this other outfit called Semaphore. It's basically they want to control the news, the whole news that was founded in 2022 by the BuzzFeed guy. Now, the BuzzFeed guy here, I'll just show you this. This is just a Wikipedia. It's just a Wikipedia just to get basics. Now, the BuzzFeed guy himself has shenanigans involved as well with super dark art stuff. So this is another thing.
That's what this tie is, by the way. Looney Tunes. This is Looney Tunes. Everything we're talking about.
Bill. These people are insane, man. Like crazy. They're doing, oh gosh, meth, money laundering, fake, everything fake. And so they want to create, they want to take over Netflix and be the new Netflix for news. It's their words, not mine.
Right.
So all this money from FTX, I just showed how it's being funneled at least a couple $100 million into all these other things. I don't know how much they donated to the transhumanism thing. So and then all the money going to the Ukraine. So this is the money that we know about. Then the money to the Ukraine. Then all this other money elsewhere. What the heck, guys?
Nobody noticed.
I know
Nobody noticed at all.
You know what I mean? So this is not a simple investment outfit, where you to get. Anyway, you guys get it.
No, that's good. You know what? I think that actually is a good place to kind of tail us off. Terry, if you have any last comments before we switch off to the next half where we're going to be on Rockfin exclusively, because I think we're going to get into some pretty nitty gritty stuff that I'd rather leave off of things like YouTube and BitChute.
Alameda logo. Look at the Alameda logo. We're going to discuss this in the second hour.
Good. I'll be sure to pull that up. Yep. So Terry, any final thoughts?
I would just say, at some point in your life, people have to be adults and stop being coincidence theorists, right? If this was just one little seed that didn't seem right, one little thing here and there, you can always justify or shrug that off or explain that away, but not what we're seeing here. If you and I were truly just trying to run a business in the crypto ecosystem, a profitable for-profit business in a hyper competitive space, we'd be very careful with our money. We wouldn't be making all these donations. We wouldn't even have the time to deal with all of these shenanigans that are going on. You'd be too damn busy trying to get ahead of your competition and just building a business. So this is clearly not what happened, but I'll leave it at that for now. And I'll let you guys take the floor. Wrap us up.
Remind everyone one more time where they can find your work and all the awesome things you do.
Yeah, I do have a newsletter at my website, which is my first name, last name.com. And we do have a private Telegram group. Maybe we could put it in the show notes.
That sounds good.
Or you can email me on through the website for the direct link to the private Telegram group. But it's a solutions-oriented group. We only want the right people in there. So if you feel like you resonate with that, come on in, and we'd love to have you.
Great. And Birdog, please remind everyone one more time where they can find you, and then we'll tail off here.
Yeah, and by the way, Terry's group is solution based. I go in there and get some references. So shout out, I appreciate your work, man. I know I ride with a lot of high frequency beings that want to keep their vibes very high, and a lot of people want to ignore this and consider it duality, or that they want to be Zen, they want to go full on Zen above it. But I would. I get it, right? Like I get that aspect as well, but I also lean on other things like when good men do nothing, evil prevails, that sort of thing. The ostrich, you just put your ostrich in nothing, everything's fine. So I don't know the answer from a cosmic level on, you know what I mean? But I know that maybe I'm not fully elevated enough, but when I see these type of atrocities, real atrocities, that also do affect one's own household. Like it gives me, I get a real fire in my belly, and then I get very righteous. I think there's just it just does not resonate with my soul, and I don't just sit around and hide. I'm about no, right? I'm like no.
Love it.
But anyway, shout out, check out my YouTube is basically what I got going on. I have a free Telegram group. It's in the YouTube. I try and share and free the people and help people navigate this asset realm, as well as Friday nights. We get weird. We don't even talk crypto sometimes. We just like to go full on gematria, astrology, everything you name it. So come join the fun. And I'm here to help people. I don't really have anything for sale. I don't do this for money, but much love, and I appreciate everyone out there. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, there's no financial advice being given or any suggestions in any way of any kind in any respects in this show or any of yours. And I just obviously have to say that. But I think that this is a great time to end here. If you guys find value in what we're doing, if you can't, let's say, join Rockfin or take a plunge into any of the things that are being offered right now, at the very least, share this with somebody you think it will impact, or somebody you think will benefit from it, or somebody who's just on the brink of starting to realize what's going on. As soon as you lift the first layer off the onion, it smells terrible. And that's pretty much where we're at this point. And Terry, you said it yourself in the interview, I think it was the expat interview. You said when they want to outlaw something, only outlaws have access to it as a result.
100%.
It can't be said any better than that. And I'm just thrilled to have you guys here. We're not done yet, but we are done with YouTube. So I think we're going to cut it off. We'll be taking a tiny little break. And please find us on Rockfin, guys. Get a premium subscription there. You can get mine and everyone else's exclusive content. And that'll do it, I think. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you on the other side.